this is Dodger and you're watching my show. So I finally have my sound panels up, which I'm so excited about. There's still going to be a little bit of an echo because this doorway, this beautiful doorway right here makes it so that my voice is going into the kitchen and then reverberating back. But in the hallway in general, it sounds so much better. So once we have a drape up here and then my lav microphone, it's gonna sound so pretty. Also, my neighbors have been really excited about 90s rock music today. So if you hear little bits of that, it's not me. It's them. It's those beautiful, beautiful people. They have a really cute dog though, I'm not gonna lie to you. Their dog is, ugh. Mwah. First piece of news is that INDIEMEGABOOTH is doing a charity live stream for 25 hours. It started at 8 a.m. I believe today, and it's for Extra Life, so it's pretty cool. They have 15 different indie teams, so that's a lot of people. It's not just 15 people, it's 15 teams of people involved, and they're going to be playing all sorts of different games for 25 hours. Why 25 hours, you might ask? Because we are gaining an hour. Gaining an hour? Yeah, because we set the clock back, so we gain, yes. Sunday, we gain an hour. It's always so confusing. So they're doing 25 hours, they're giving you that extra hour that they have gained. And doing 25 hours for charity, which is very cool. You can find it at twitch.tv/INDIEMEGABOOTH, I believe. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that we haven't done a charity thing in a long time. And I think that that needs to be fixed. I'm gonna think on it. I'm gonna think on what it should be. For any of you that religiously use Swapnote, perhaps you've been excited about Spot Pass, how you can send pictures and audio messages and all such wonderfulness. But unfortunately, they shut that down on October 31st because of offensive material being passed between people. Apparently they didn't think this through. They didn't think, man, you know, we should give kids the ability to send each other pictures. I bet they'll never use it for dick pics, not once. But yeah, the Spot Pass feature of Swapnote is completely down. It was taken down at 7 a.m. on the 31st, so you can no longer use that. Swapnote is still around, but the Spot Pass features of Swapnote are gone, so you can't send each other pictures, etc., etc. They were like, everybody's abusing our program. I don't understand. Like, why do they do this? It's like, because that's what any picture service, anything where you say you could send another person whatever picture you want, they're going to abuse it. Like, I don't know. Come on, guys. I'd also like to make clear that I completely agree with their decision to take it down because, you know, Nintendo is very well known for being family friendly, and they don't want to have any sort of a service on there that is going to inspire not so family friendly activities. Don't they have like sexy time games for Nintendo, don't they? Maybe that's only in Japan. I don't know. Are you one of the lucky few from North or South America that got into the Dark Souls 2 beta and then was extremely depressed because it didn't work? So last week they were like, alright, Dark Souls 2 beta is gonna happen, you guys be ready. And then all of these people that were accepted into it tried to log in and it didn't work. So they said, all right, we're gonna reschedule it, which I'm sure was very depressing. They've rescheduled it to November 10th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific time. So if you were involved in the first one and weren't able to log in, obviously you were invited to the second one, and they've said that they still have spaces for more people. So if you're interested, you should try to get into that. The actual game is releasing on March 11th for Xbox 360 and PS3. So, I mean, that's like a decent ways away. It's not like you could be like, oh well, didn't do the beta thing, it'll be out soon. You got a while to wait. But it's looking to be pretty cool, Everybody keeps saying that I should play that game on my channel. Nope, it's not gonna happen. Those games frustrate me so badly. Like, I loved Volgar, and I realized that they're pretty much like the same sort of idea, where you memorize where things are so that you don't get killed, right? But, man, I don't know what it is. I just wanted to die. But, you know, long story short is that Namco Bandai was like, we're really sorry that that didn't work out. We're gonna make it right. Don't worry. And it's not a long ways away. They're saying, we're gonna make it right pretty much now, just in a few days. So that's cool. So Wadget Eye Games is a one-man, one-woman team. They are husband and wife, and they make little point-and-click games, and for Halloween they decided, you know what? Our game Blackwell Deception is going to be freezy. So they generated a link for it, they put it up, they were like, guys, have a free game. go for it. And then it just created this awful series of so many issues. The series of issues went as such. First issue was that the link that they had people click was going to their entire catalog. So people were just getting all of their games for free, which was not the intention whatsoever. And they went, oh no, nope, reel that back in. Nope. Okay, I think we fixed it. Second issue was that people just decided, well, I mean, they don't have an IP blocker, so we're just gonna keep getting more and more codes, and that way we can sell them again later. And they were like, no, we don't want that either. So people were just getting hundreds of codes for free. They said, okay, no, never mind. Let's put in a blocker, some sort of an IP blocker to make it so that, you know, one computer can only get one key. So then, third problem is that there are ways to mask your IP so that you can get around IP blockers. So then people were just continuing to get hundreds of codes. So then the fourth problem, which I think is kind of the saddest problem, is that they took the links down everywhere. They were like, all right, shut it down. It's not gonna happen anymore. But whoever was in charge of doing that left the generator running. So anybody who already had the link to the generator was just continuing to generate keys. And when they went to look at it again, they were like, oh, we are missing 30,000 keys for this game. So now the issue in discussion is, was it their fault? Or is it the fault of the people who are stealing from them? Now, obviously, the people who are generating tons of codes in order to make a profit on their goodwill and being like, yo, Halloween, have a free game, that sucks. You guys suck. Like, first issue was people accidentally getting all of their games. That was not intentionally awful, right? They were like, oh, I'm getting lots of free games, that's cool, and then that was dialed back. The people that were generating tons of codes, like, that does suck, but they weren't skirting any rules. They weren't doing anything illegal or awful in order to get the codes. It was just, they were able to get those codes, so they just kept getting more codes. Now when the IP blocker came into effect and they continued to be douchey, then yes, that is awful and you suck. And I really don't think that it's ever fair to say, they should have expected this. Because obviously, yeah, you think to yourself, okay, somebody is going to try to take advantage of this situation. But to come back after so many problems and see that 30,000 of your keys have been taken when you have expressly asked people to stop, that is just bad will. You know, like, I don't think that it's fair to say you should have expected people to pirate your game, because in a perfect, decent world, that wouldn't happen. So yes, to Wadget Eye Games, I feel very bad for you. I'm so sorry. You tried to do something nice for everybody and they took advantage and it turned into a bad situation. And I think that, you know, considering how many things went wrong that weren't necessarily anybody's fault, you know, next time it'll be better if you decide to do it again. If you decide to do it again, it'll be better next time. And Ouya 2.0 is going to be launching next year, although we are going to be getting a new controller earlier than next year, thank God. So like, I've made it very clear that the only time that I ever use the Ouya is to play Towerfall, and we have never once used the Ouya controllers because they are so bad. We always only ever use Xbox 360 controllers because there are ways to plug those into the Ouya. So they've added texture to the buttons, they've added better response, they've added that the buttons don't get stuck into the frame, right? That was always the worst part, is when you're playing a game and you're like, the button is stuck. And I remember back when Ouya was first being talked about, that one of their big things was like, we have spent so much time on our controller. We want it to feel good to play with it, we want it to be very innovative. We want it to be a very new, interesting controller that's also easy to use. And we wound up with this controller that's just kind of awful. And I don't know how that happens. Also, apparently they've admitted that they're not going to, like, when they have the new controllers, they're just going to be shipped out with like the old Ouyas, and they're not going to say anywhere on the box like, new controller! It's just going to be the exact same box, so you won't know which ones have the new good controller and which ones have the old awful controller. Why would you admit that? Like, if you're planning on doing, why would you? I don't understand. I don't understand anything anymore. But either way, we should be getting that before the end of the year, and they are revising all of the Ouya-ness for a 2014 Ouya 2.0 release. For our final bit of news, and you know me, I always leave the best for last, Batman Arkham Origins has not one, not two, not three, but many game-breaking glitches in it. WB has publicly apologized about the issue. There are 3 different specific problems that they've said they are going to fix very quickly. Within the next week there will be a patch that will fix them, but they've also made it very clear that it's not just 3. There are many problems, which is so sad. Okay, wait, so the issues that they're addressing now are that players fall through the game, like the geometry just isn't there and you're just falling forever. A missing continue button. When you go to like play more of the game, the continue button just isn't there. So you're like, do I have to start over? And then also no free flow combat once a player is 3rd rank in Shadow Vigilante. It just like stops being available as though you're playing in hardcore mode, which is very weird. So those are the 3 problems that they've addressed so far. There are more that they are planning on fixing, but those are the only 3 that they had in the press conference where they were apologizing, and apparently they're all working to fix it. Working day and night, so they say. But like, it's so strange when I'm very used to reading articles where they say like, here's this one bug, this one awful bug that we're gonna get rid of ASAP. In fact, here's an update already that's going to fix the problem. Here you go, keep playing. But in this scenario, we have a major company that has made a game from a very successful franchise, and it has nothing but problems. Like, just so many issues. How sad is that? And I can't help but wonder if part of the problem is that they reused so many assets that they kind of slapped it all together and didn't really game test it as much as they should. I mean, obviously they didn't. With this many problems, obviously they didn't. But I'm wondering if that's a byproduct of reusing so many assets or not. Anyway, hopefully they get all of that fixed. I know that some of you have really enjoyed it so far, so I would hate for your game to just like bust. But they are working on it, and they have a big list. They have a big list of things to fix, so those are the first 3 they're addressing. Anywho, that is my show. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a positive or a negative response, feel free to leave it in my comment section. And if you want to have coffee with me, you can click wherever I put the annotation and it'll take you to my other channel. But otherwise, I hope that you guys are having an amazing day, and I hope that your week was fantastic and spooky, and I will talk to you again next Saturday. Bye-bye! Gaining an hour. Gaining an hour?